We are really early this morning, but I'm going to call the we're going to call the meeting to order. Mike, would you like to lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, would the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here. Move on to item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Do we have any correspondence to report?
Yes, the Washington State Liquor and Cannabis Board sent in a change in limited liability for Synchronic, located at 831 West Golden Pheasant Road in Shelton. And they also sent in a special occasion license for the Allen Community Association for an event at Faith in Action, the Hub.
Great, thank you. Can move on to item 4.2, Timberland Regional Library report.
Good morning, Commissioners. Can you hear me? Is this working? Yes?
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't work for us, it works for the behind you.
Okay. Good morning, Commissioners. On behalf of Timberland Regional Library Board of Trustees and 284 staff, thank you for the opportunity to present Timberland Regional Library's 2019 State of the Library and several 2020 major initiatives. Before I get started, I would like to have Trustee Hershey stand up and introduce herself. Brenda Hershey. And as you know, she is the Mason County trustee on the 7-member board, and she currently is our president for 2020, and we deeply appreciate her financial acumen at this moment in our history. So thank you for appointing Trustee Hershey. And today we have a full gamut, a full array of all the 3 library managers for Mason County, so I'll have them stand up and introduce themselves. Can we start with Donna?
Sure. I'm Donna Feder, and I'm the Shelton Timberland Library Manager. I'm Mary Holterman. I'm the Library Manager at North Mason Timberland Library in Belfair.
I'm Annie Bowers. I'm the manager at the Hoodsport Timberland Library.
Awesome. Great. Always nice to see everybody here. So in front of you, you have a packet of information. Looks like this. And I want to first start by saying that 2019 was a very important learning and planning year for Timberland Regional Library. We focused our efforts on listening to the needs of our communities and providing relevant library resources to the residents of our 5 counties, Mason, Thurston, Lewis, Grace Harbor, and Pacific counties. These new library resources that I will be sharing with you today tell bigger stories, stories of connection, stories of hope, stories of how library staff and libraries have the power to change people's lives. From a young woman who applied for a job and got it at the McCleary Timberland Library using expanded access hours, to a Vietnam vet who recently began to receive needed benefits from a new pilot program at the Mountain View Timberland Library. From a senior remotely testifying to the Senate during this legislative season, to a teen participating in their first con, all deepened their understanding and relationship to Timberland staff and to the Timberland Library in their community. So in 2019, Timberland embarked on our 2020 to 2022 strategic direction. We began with a community engagement initiative that reached out across the 5 counties to gather data and feedback. We had surveys, we had community chats, we met at 13 different locations, we had 5 community check-ins. And what resulted is what you see on your packet, first page here. A new vision, a new mission, a new value, 3 major foci outlining how we're going to focus on local communities, equity, diversity and inclusion, and children birth through 5, all while continuing to provide core public library services as outlined on the bottom part of this front sheet. So as a reminder, 27 physical locations, over 1 million physical items, courier delivery to all of those libraries, access to more than 50 databases online, extensive downloadable ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, etc. So, in addition to the distinct themes that emerged that were consistent across the 5-county region that are reflected in the strategic direction, there were several themes that emerged specifically from Mason County that I wanted you to be aware of. The first is that people want more community participation. The second, people want intergenerational communication. And the third, people want us to foster and assist youth. So please ask questions as we go along, because it's going to be about another 20 minutes, and you might want to ask questions right now. So are there any questions about the strategic direction?
Any questions?
Okay. So we had 2019 last summer, we had a summer library program called the Universe of Stories, and you can see in your handout how many kids and adults and teenagers participated. And the most important part, of course, is the fun that they had during last summer. I do want to point out that we are collecting outcome-based measurements, and so you could see at the bottom of this flyer right here that parents and caregivers reported that 92% maintained or increased their reading skills, 76 are more confident readers, and so on. So those are the key outcomes that we look for in our summer library program. If you turn to, let's see, this one here, the work source connection sites, this sheet here. As of July last summer, Timberland libraries, all 27, are now work source connection sites in the work source system. So if you're looking for work, if you're looking for training, if you're looking to hire trained staff, you want to know more about work experiences and apprenticeships, then you turn to the 27 libraries for us to connect, our staff to connect you to those resources, those wraparound services that WorkSource provides. And I want to point out that at the same time, Timberland Regional Library also has workforce development services in the 27 libraries. We have free internet and computer access. We have free Wi-Fi, 6 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. We have free printing, 100 pages a week, and we just introduced color copiers, which is a really big deal, 20 free copies a week per person. We have free scanning and free faxing services. We have free career and business-related database resources, and we have free resume and cover letter help. Any questions about WorkSource connection sites?
That's great.
We piloted a new program in McCleary. I might have talked to you about this before. The McCleary Timberland Library was a site for a pilot called the Expanded Access Hours at this library. So this allows people over the age of 18 to opt into this system, and they have access to library 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., as I said, 7 days a week. Staff are still there, 27 hours per week. This expands the access to 91 hours a week, and it's a key card system like this. And I do believe that there are people in Shelton who have, anybody with a Timberland card can go to the McCleary Timberland Library and sign up and get it if you're over 18. The pilot project was so well received that we are considering it for additional locations in our district, and I do want to point out that here is the flyer about that new pilot with the stories of local residents taking advantage of this service. So people are using it for reading a newspaper at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, to bringing in their children to play as they work on their business. People are coming in to apply for jobs, for a full array of services. We also, if you turn to this flyer right here, we piloted a program called the Veterans Connection Cafe at the Mountain View Timberland Library. This program offers professional teleservices to rural veterans who can receive virtual assistance with benefits. And so this is an hour-long appointment every other Tuesday. A local veteran was hired to schedule and help navigate. This was in partnership with the West Care Foundation and with Home Depot and Lacey Veteran Service Hub and American Legion Lacey Post 94. And I want to share with you one experience. This is a patron, a Vietnam vet, who lives in the area, and he wanted us to share his story with a lot of people. So John's experience with this program, he's a Vietnam vet. He gave us permission to share his story. With this program, he has received free hearing aids, free glasses. He's been officially diagnosed with PTSD and depression, and he's receiving free psychiatric care. He's been awarded an initial 50% disability rating and received back pay of the 50% disability dated from when he first applied for benefits in 2018. He is so thankful for this program in Randall, and he wants other vets who were turned away by the VA after Vietnam to come and get help. So currently we're working with WestCare to identify other libraries in our system that could provide that service as well. So let's talk about collections for a moment. We added a service, an online service called Canopy, Canopy with a K. And Canopy is a streaming movie service. You have access to over 30,000 online movies for children and teens and adults, documentaries, feature films, the Criterion Collection. The 30,000 plus films all have public performance rights so that you can show them in groups and not have to pay that licensing fee. And so you can, with your library card, stream 5 films per month. We also added to our Lucky Day collection. Lucky Day means you walk into a library and you see a book that's in high demand, and it's your lucky day because it's not on any holds list, and you can check it out for 3 weeks. No renewals, no holds, no waiting. Well, we did the same thing with feature films. And so it's your lucky day if you walk into any of our libraries and pick up a feature film that's a high demand item. We also added and updated and refreshed what's called the Washington Assistive Technology Act program devices. This flyer here talks about all the devices such as daily living aids, communication assistance aids, computer access devices, leisure tools, all sorts of items that you can check out for 3 weeks. And if you like them, we would give you information about where you can purchase them at a discount. Okay, let's talk a bit about the 2020 initiatives. So you may have heard that we went fine free. Did you hear that? January 1. Woohoo! This is a big deal. And so research has shown that overdue fines act as an emotional barrier for many people and create a disproportionate financial impact on many in our communities. And our board voted, I believe it was in December, to go fine free. So we're very excited to be able to offer that. We're also involved in another pilot, and it's also in your flyer, and this time the Senate reached out to us, the Senate IT department, and they wanted us to provide a voice to people in Southwest Washington. They had nobody, no organization in this corner of the state to provide remote Senate testimonials. And this is a big deal because, you know, we're 7,000 square miles, and it could take 2.5 hours to go from Ocean Park to Olympia to testify. And so we tested out the technology. We provided it to 8 libraries, including the North Mason Belfair Timberland Library as a test pilot. And it was very successful, as you can see with an example here from the Randall community. We are hoping to be, the Senate is, the IT department, very excited about this. They want to expand it for next year. They want they want us to really push and promote it for elected officials and city staff who work far away to be able to come into their local library to be able to testify and not spend a whole day traveling to and from Olympia. And then the census 2020, we are heavily involved for the first time ever. And so beginning March 12th until the end of, I believe, is it April? June? April. Our libraries will have dedicated computers for people to come in, regardless if you have a library card or not, to be able to input your information about the census online. We also received a $79,000 grant from OFM to be able to do outreach with other community groups, focusing on, you know, reaching people where they're at in terms of registering people for the 2020 census. So I want to talk a little bit about our finances. While we always make every effort to live within our means and be good stewards of public funds, our expenditures have been outpacing our revenues since 2001, with the Initiative 747 placing limitations on property tax increases. The gap has increased annually as costs go up, with the largest impacts coming from salaries and benefits. To continue to bridge the gap of expenditures outpacing revenues, we implemented a soft hiring freeze in January 2019 and took a close look at each position as it opened through attrition. Throughout 2019, we were able to save approximately $700,000, and thanks to this fiscally responsible decision-making process. We invited everyone to follow along with our 2020 budget discussions that took place at our Board of Trustee meetings and have all stages of the budget documented posted on our website at trl.org. We continue to work with our board with a concentration on current needs as well as looking 10 years down the line. Our focus is on continued fiscal responsibility, an increase in accessibility, with ongoing efforts to establish a sustainable staffing model. All of our budgets, as I mentioned, are at trl.org. So, are you ready for Mason County by the numbers? I'm just going to share one number with you. You ready? Okay. So the one number is, over the last 3 years, 28,574 residents, that's 28,574 residents of Mason County in the last 3 years have had active library cards. They're actively using them. That's out of the population of 63,710, which is a number from 2017. So it's a little over 44% of the population has library cards and are using them. So this is just a call to action. If you can encourage people when you meet with them to get a library card, because there's so many incredible resources, services, and programs that people can take advantage of. So I do want to mention that in 2019 for Hoodsport, in terms of the building itself, we resurfaced the parking lot and we added an ADA ramp and then a picnic table on the great multi-million-dollar views of the Hood Canal. And for Shelton, the city of Shelton applied for a CDBG grant at the Department of Commerce, and they were able to do some upkeep on the exterior part of the building, including the deck. So all the work accomplished in 2019 and in early 2020 is to prepare Timberland as we move into the 2020 to 2022 strategic direction with our new vision of our libraries connecting to our communities, where we value access for all, working together, diverse communities and ideas, and responsible use of public resources. Our staff and libraries are on their way to connecting more deeply with our communities and our residents. As R. David Lankes wrote, "Bad libraries only build collections. Good libraries build services. Great libraries build communities." Thank you, Mason County residents, for an outstanding year, helping to continue to build our communities. Please share what you have learned today with your family, friends, and colleagues. And to learn more about us, go to trl.org. On behalf of Timberland and all of our communities, I'm really proud of all the work that we've done and accomplished together in 2019 and into the first part of 2020. Any questions?
Thanks, Cheryl. I just appreciate you coming in and sharing the updates with us. Also, thanks to Donna and Mary. And I had a chance to meet, Annie last week. I think over the weekend, my wife and I popped into the Hoodsport branch and picked up a couple of books. And so I had a chance to chat with Annie and Beth. And just really appreciate everything Timberland does for the community and the presence you have here. And I think my library card is, what I'm learning is probably like one of the more powerful cards I have in my wallet.
Yes.
It definitely gives you access to a lot of things, and if anybody in the room here doesn't have a library card, only 44% do, sounds like, go get one, because it's worth it.
Yes.
I also just want to say a word of thanks to Brenda, as well as you, with working with Jim Bolt and the Hoodsport Writers Group on making sure they have access to the library for their writing group, and helping them with planning on that, and making sure that they still have access to it as they need it. Also, just a word of thanks to the Commission as well as our Public Works staff for working on the crosswalk issue in Hoodsport. With DOT, we were able to get a crosswalk across 101 where Schoolhouse Lane comes out, and we've got that. We just got some light. What are they called? The rapid flashing beacon lights there for folks, so it's a little bit safer as they go back and forth between the library and some of the businesses there in downtown Hoodsport. And so, and always just appreciate the library being open and willing to help me host mobile office hours for folks in other parts of the county. And the Hoodsport Library in particular has been very accommodating of that, and I appreciate staff's willingness to help me engage with my constituents. So thank you.
Great, you're very welcome.
Yeah, and thank you for everything you do. You know how much I appreciate your time. I want to repeat a few of the things because of the cameras for the people to know. Free internet access, 6 a.m. to midnight. Free printing, which is important in my community, especially. So 100 black and white copies. How many color now?
It's 20, so that's part of the 100 though,
Okay,
right?
no, that's okay. Free scanning and faxing services, free carrier and or career and business related database resources, but free resources to help you with your resume and cover letters.
Yes.
I'm saying that because we have an entity that's closing down, as we know right now. They're shipping their work to Chicago, and the Stretch Island Fruit Factory. I'm asking you to please reach out to them, let them know you have those abilities to do that, and they can come down and take care of these. Take advantage of these free services. Also, the EDC, I'm sure, should be on that.
Yes, and so just to let you know that part of Timberland being connection sites means that we're also part of the rapid response teams when PAC Mountain, Pacific Mountain Workforce Development Council, that serves the same 5-county region as Timberland does. And by the way, thank you very much for appointing me for my second 3-year term as a PAC Mountain board member, and actually as the board member who oversees the one-stop committee, which is the whole WorkSource system. We're very aware of, we get notified by the or PAC Mountain gets notified by the Employment Securities Department when a company does close for whatever reason, and then very quickly a rapid response team, including library staff and other staff too, from the WorkSource offices, come into employer and help people transition with unemployment claims and resume writing and whatever else they need in terms of support.
And another piece is that Rural Veteran Service Program is a big
Yes.
deal. What I'm asking is for you to, I know you're looking at your own locations and how to do it, but reach out to North Mesa Resources up there. Down here, you've got a gentleman sitting next to you over here. You
Yes.
should hit up a little bit and ask about the possibility of getting people to come in and work with them on that
Yes.
day. But sooner rather than later,
Yes.
we are rural.
Yes, oh no, I know that, we know that. And so the Lacey Hub that's helping out with the Randall community, they're at capacity right now in terms of helping them. And as you saw in the photo, that robotic arm is also HIPAA encrypted, and it's also controlled externally. It's not controlled within the library meeting room. But going back to the issue of there's a level of expertise when it comes to what the Lacey veterans are providing from Lacey to this service. We're trying to find that same level of expertise across the 5-county region. And Donald is the person from WestCare who's helping us with this, and he's going after grants and he's trying to identify people. So for those of you in Mason County listening to this presentation today, if you want to reach out, please contact me and I will get you into contact with Donald to figure out identifying additional libraries in our system. And for sure we're going to have one somewhere in Mason County, for sure. We just don't know where yet.
We need several.
I know.
We're 30 minutes apart from different locations. And
we're very well aware that this 5-county region has the highest number of veterans compared to the rest of the state and the rest of the nation.
And that's why we're so awesome.
Yeah,
Everybody knows
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. And so we're working as fast as we can with Donald on this project.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I was raised in the libraries, and I know my grandkids go to the libraries all the time. So you guys are a great resource. And your staff, man,
Aren't they
they're
awesome?
awesome.
I know, they're
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yes.
couldn't ask for better.
Yes.
They're amazing.
And I hear that you're going on a ride along.
I am. I am
Yes.
so excited.
A rolling story time on the bus in Mason County starting at North Mason Timberland Library in Belfair at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah,
lots of pictures.
I am so excited.
Yes.
To have somebody to read to me, that's amazing.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to item number 5. And this is the time we set aside to give the public the opportunity to address the commission regarding our items that are not on today's agenda. So if you wish to address the commission, please raise your hand. I'll call you and then come on up. Brenda. Nope, doing that right now. Right now, yes. Would you like to come up and start us off?
Annie is up first.
Okay.
Listen, pull that bus off that young lady. You just rolled her over.
I do have something. You know, I want to thank you so much. You have appointed me to the job of a lifetime. I love working with the libraries and being your trustee.
Can I have you state your name real quick?
I'm Brenda Hershey,
Thank
and
you.
I live at 191 Southeast Allen Road.
Thank you.
And thank you again. There's a couple of things that I wanted to speak to today since I have this opportunity to talk to you about libraries. One of the concerns that I have, having served now 2 years on the library as a library trustee, is this issue of equity. In Mason County, we have 3 libraries. There are 27 libraries in Timberland Regional Library System. So the 4 other counties have the other 24 libraries. We do not have the kind of coverage that other counties have. This is just the way it is. This is how it's happened. And I promise you that every opportunity that I have, I speak up on the issue of equity and how we can get coverage in areas that are truly isolated, areas where we know that people do not have access to the library. And that is something that I go every meeting, I am about that. I am committed to that. Another thing that I am concerned about is the long-term financial stability of the Timberland Regional Library System. It's not going to fall off a cliff next year. But how do we do this balancing of meeting the needs of patrons during a time of such enormous change? In Cheryl's papers that she gave you, she shows that in just 3 years, there's been a 300% increase in, 30% increase in the demand for downloadables. We're seeing that. More and more people have these, smartphones. They have access, and those materials are very expensive. So we have fewer people who are checking out the physical items and more people who are looking for the downloadables. More demand, I should say. We're in this time of change when those downloadables are extremely expensive. So we're trying to balance between what the demands and needs of our patrons are as their demands are changing, and at the same time, we're trying to ensure that we're paying our awesome staff properly. And there is that balancing act that we're working within. And then we've got that 1% that we can only increase our property taxes by 1% each year. The same thing that you experience. We're going through that too. So I do want to tell you that I totally concur with the statement that our staff is great. Our staff is, and especially the 3 librarians that we have here in Mason County. They just, their spaces are just a wonderful place to take children. I take my grandchildren there. It's a great place to go. And I know that it serves such a huge need within our community. And as former military associated employee, I was at the veterans site there in Randall, and we had so many former military who came out. And this is something that I too, Commissioner Netherland, I too want to see this. And not just one in Mason County. I would like to see a couple in Mason County, because there is a big distance, as we know, between Belfair and Shelton. A huge distance. So thank you again, and we'll just carry on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone else that would like to comment? No? Thank you, friend. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
All right, we're going to move on to item number 6, adoption of today's agenda.
Madam Chair, I move for adoption of today's agenda as presented.
Second.
I wanted the easy one.
We have a motion and a second to adopt today's agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on to item number 7, approval of the minutes.
Madam Chair, I move approval of the February 10th and February 24th, 2020 briefing minutes and February 25th, 2020 regular meeting minutes as presented.
I will second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the February 10th and the February 24th, 2020 briefing minutes and the February 25th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, minutes are approved. All right, now we're going to move on to item number 8. Approval of today's action agenda. Commissioners will read through the items on the action agenda. Commissioners or members of the public can ask questions or have an item removed for a separate discussion and vote. Commissioner Schutte, if you could take items 8.1 through 8.3. I will take 8.4 through 8.6, and Commissioner Netherland, if you could take 8.7 through 8.9.
Madam Chair, item 8.1, approval to have the chair sign the amendment to the Alderbrook Resort Conservancy Area Plan Conservation Easement. Item 8.2, approval of warrants and treasurer electronic remittances. Claims clearing fund warrant numbers 807-0793 through 807-0945 in the amount of $587,647.95. And treasurer electronic remittance for February 2020 in the amount of $120,632.43. Item 8.3, approval of the professional services contract between Hood Canal Coordinating Council and Mason County to improve water quality and commercial shellfish harvest opportunities within Hood Canal.
Thank you. 8.4, approval to sign a letter of support to Washington State Department of Transportation on behalf of the Mason Transit Authority concerning the importance of sustaining existing services and replacement vehicles. Item 8.5, approval to appoint Sherry Dysert and Linda Links to the Solid Waste Advisory Committee for a 3-year term ending March 10th, 2023. Item 8.6, approval of a private line occupancy permit for the Port of Grapeview, granting permission to run a pressurized sewer line across Grapeview Loop Road from parcel 12105-51-66001 to 12105-51-63003 and 12105-51-63005.
Madam Chair, item number 8.7 reads approval to set a hearing on Tuesday, April 7th, 2020 at 9:15 a.m. to consider approving the franchise agreement applications between Mason County and the following: Aquarius Utilities LLC, Detroit Water Service Association, Island Shores Water LLC, Oak Park Water Company LLC. Item number 8.8, I am proud to bring forward an approval of the January 2019 to December 2021 Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, for Woodworkers Local Lodge W38 IAM, representing the Mason County Sheriff's Office Corrections and Support Staff. Item number 8.9 is approval of the January 2019 through December 2021 Collective Bargaining Agreement, CBA, for the Teamsters, Local number 252, and Operating Engineers, Local 302, representing Mason County Public Works Unit.
Great. Do we have any items that you would like to be removed for discussion or a separate vote? Nope. Anybody in the public would you like anything removed for a separate discussion or a vote? Nope. All right. Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll move approval of the action agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the action agenda as presented. All in favor? Oh, wait. Would you like to comment?
I want to thank our staff on those CBAs. And I also want to thank our employees. You know, we had some tough times on some of this one, but in the end, they all came together, and I think it was beneficial for both the county and for them. I think everybody did a great job, and they needed a pat on the back on that. And the Hood Canal Coordinating Council, this is a very important grant to us, and it's wonderful that they seem to find a way to keep doing it. I just wish we can get more money from grants the same way. Thank you for all your work on that.
Yeah, I would just echo both of those. As our representative on the Hood Canal Coordinating Council, it's always important that we go up there and advocate for additional dollars to come into Hood Canal. We know it's critical, not from just a shellfish aquaculture perspective, but also a recreation perspective, that we keep our water clean and healthy. And this is another important step in that direction. Alex has been working very hard on bringing us options and opportunities to generate a little bit more revenue locally, so we're not as reliant on outside funding sources for this work. I believe if we're not 100% grant reliant, we're in the high 90s when it comes to doing water quality work. And so Alex has been very proactive in looking for a local revenue source to help us with that work. And also just a credit to our employees as well as our negotiating teams on the contracts that we're signing today. It represents a lot of hard work on both sides. We're really grateful that we were able to find agreement on those. I think it's been a largely successful negotiating period, and that cuts both ways. You can only have successful negotiations if you have a willing partner across the table, and it just shows the commitment and dedication of our county employees and to their work and to our community. And so very happy to be signing those contracts as well.
Great, great. Echo their opinions or comments. We do have great staff, whether they're department heads, electeds, or our employees. They're all amazing. And if you look at the action agenda, each one of these, we read through them very quickly, but during the briefings, we discuss them very deeply, I guess, in depth. And so I want to thank these two guys plus everybody else in our team. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the action agenda is approved. All right, we're going to move on to item number 9, other business. Do we have any department heads or elected officials that would like to share some comments? No? No? All righty.
We have a lot of them in the room for us today,
Right?
too.
I know.
They're all looking at each other. What the heck? No.
Many times they like to talk,
Yeah.
but I guess not today. All right, let's move on to item 10. Public hearings. We have no public hearings today. So we'll move on to item number 11, board reports and calendars. I'll ask Commissioner Netherland to go first. Commissioner Schutte to go second, and then I will follow up.
Proudly. At the end of our last meeting, we had a meeting to go over all the things that are happening in our community from DCD with the COVID-19 virus. The next day, we had a special meeting to do a proclamation proclaiming that there was an issue that was most likely going to occur and that we were dealing with. I met with the chair of the Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization as we're restructuring and putting things together. Had a YRA 15 meeting. Also was a guest speaker at the Allen Community Association. Was there for the soft opening of Tea's Coffee just down the road. They look like they're going to be successful. They're in the same building, the same space as Doug's was. I miss Doug's. They were pretty darn good sandwiches, but now this place is pretty awesome. I had some type of a French toast thing with some type of fruit compote and some other stuff there. All I know is it was good. That's the only thing I can tell you. It was wonderful. Great View Fire Department had a taco bar and potato bar. We had briefings. Today I'll be speaking at the Hub. I have a meeting with the Olympic Regional Clean Air Associations next week, a meeting at the ARC. Union City, the Economic Development Council briefings, and Derek Kilmer will be at the Hub, and I on that next Monday, and I will be there also as he talks about some of the opportunities, some of the financial issues and stuff for and where they can help for the veterans. And then that brings us back, we do it all over again.
Just a couple of quick items from last week. I had an opportunity to get out with Chief Ryan Sperling from the Sheriff's Office for a ride along last Friday morning, and had a chance to go look at some of the areas that our deputies are working, as well as meet with some businesses and some of our other public sector partners up in the north end of the community. Just really appreciated Chief giving his time to me on Friday and going out and about in the community. Going forward this week, have a MACECOM board meeting, RIA 14 watershed planning meeting, as well as the Alliance for a Healthy South Sound. A State Building Code Council, as well as a meeting with Scott Burr from the Hood Canal Coordinating Council, and then I'll also be meeting with Representative Derek Kilmer next Monday. And just appreciate our, well, Dave left, but we've been following the coronavirus, the COVID-19 issues as they've kind of emerged over the past couple of weeks here. Yesterday at our briefings with staff, we decided to move forward with some additional cleaning resources in all the public areas that the public visits and uses here in the county, including over in the courthouse, which is probably one of the busier offices that here downtown that folks are taking advantage of, and so we're mindful of the need to be putting additional resources into it out of an abundance of caution. And as a precautionary measure, we still have 0 cases of coronavirus confirmed here in the community. We hope to keep it that way, and we think by putting additional resources into cleaning the public spaces, it's our contribution to helping keep Mason County healthy and helping us kind of weather the storm here that we see happening mostly in King County. But just want folks to know, no reason to be concerned, but you will see a greater presence here in county offices over the next several weeks of folks out there making sure our public spaces are clean and keeping people healthy. That's all I got.
Great, thank you. Well, this afternoon I'll be meeting with some constituents. Tomorrow's the business after hours with the Martha Reed Foundation, a great foundation. They really help our community quite a bit. I have a Turning Point board meeting all day Thursday, and Saturday is the Kitsap County Lincoln Day dinner. Then we'll be back here on, wow, I skipped a week. That's okay. Then Monday we'll be back here for county briefings.
One last thing I let everybody know. We know from yesterday, but the public doesn't know yet. The first responder who was quarantined is done being quarantined and nothing happened. The person came out of this without any symptoms, without being tested positive, and they're back free into the world again. Thank God we have first responders that are willing to go out there and jump in like that. But that was some pretty good news yesterday, and I thought we'd share it with the public as well.
Okay. Anything else?
Madam Chair, I move we adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.
And now I think I can...